Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dad Comes podcast. We were just here moments ago and technical difficulties, like usual. I'm your host, Dimitri.
And I'm your host, Patrick.
All right.
Well, I got fired as the IT guy.
And I got hired, and that was a fucking mistake. So, today we're going to talk about kind of falling off the bandwagon.
Off the wagon, not the bandwagon.
Off the wagon, the bandwagon. There is no bandwagon. I mean, maybe, who knows, maybe other dads probably have the same exact thing where you guys are good and then all of a sudden stress in life kind of compiles on you and it just compounds into worse and worse and worse. And then you're like, I'm just going to have a beer. I'm going to have 2 beers. I'm going to have 3 beers. I'm going to piss off all my neighbors. So
feed them all chicken.
I'm going to feed them all chicken. I gave everybody chicken. Everybody had chicken. No plate, don't matter. Open up your fucking hands. Little children, don't care.
No problem.
No problem. As long as you got fingers, you're good. So, all right, Patrick.
Fatherhood unscripted.
That's right.
All right.
Started off.
You've never heard this, so I'm getting ready to tell you.
I'm excited.
So mine is Evelyn. So on Sunday, my mom came over for Father's Day, and I was leaving for a concert, and she was taking Evelyn for a couple of days just to hang out because she gets to work from home, so she gets a little bit more time to be around.
She took her for a couple of days?
2 days, yeah. Sunday, Monday.
Oh.
So when Evelyn was getting ready to leave, she was devastated that she was losing out on time with me. And so I had to kind of go through and explain to her that I'm going to a concert anyway, so I wasn't going to get to hang out with her on Sunday night. I got to work all day Monday, so she's really only missing out on Monday night. And it was a hard pill for her to swallow. Once she leaves, she's totally fine. My mom spoils the shit out of her. They went and got their nails done, and they hang out and, watch TV or cook together, whatever the case is.
The girl thing.
The shitty thing is it happened again on Thursday. She was going to Waterworld with her mom on Friday. Obviously I had to work, so it was a no-brainer to just say, hey, go have a good time. But she had to stay the night on Thursday night, so we had to relive the Sunday night experience again. And it's weird because she doesn't do that when she goes to her mom's on Saturdays when we transition. But it's when she loses out on the 7 days that she's with me. So that it's just hard for her.
Just rough. I mean, I think our son had kind of like similar stuff when he was younger with his dad, but he just wouldn't pick him up.
You got real quiet.
I got real quiet?
Yeah. Maybe you need to get closer to your mic.
I think you just need to turn me up in your ears.
What'd you say?
You got to turn me up in your ears.
All right, I'll do that.
How's that?
I'm good.
Now you could hear me?
Yes, sir.
That's why you were fired and I was rehired after being fired.
Just so we're clear, I should never be the IT person ever.
You could.
Yeah, no.
I think you could. All right. My fatherhood unscripted is, so my grandmother passed away this week, and we had her funeral yesterday. So we didn't go to the viewing and the service that was on Friday. I had work. My wife had work. We can't both take off 2 days. It just won't work. And it's like a 2.5 hour drive. So yesterday we went down there, and we went down to Alpha, New Jersey, which right by Alpha, New Jersey, there is this wonderful place called the Crayola Experience. And so we all got to make some crayons here. Is it upside down?
Nope, you were good.
It's okay. Now, Obviously, my son wasn't there. He's back in Colorado. Well, one of the parts of the experience is you get to make your own crayon. And
Why does it say
I sent
Wrangler,
it to
not
him.
Rizzler? I thought you
Well,
called them the
because
horse Rizzler.
well, after he rizzles it, he wrangles it. You know what I'm saying? So
So
anyway,
you made that for
everybody
him.
got, huh?
You made that for him.
I did. I did. I sent him a picture of it. He couldn't believe me. He thought I was making a joke and being funny. And I called him. I was like, dude, how many times have I ever lied to you? I was like, go ahead. I'll wait. I was like, 0. I was like, I made that crayon for you.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, man, the kids had such a good time. They all got to make crayons. Ronan said, Ronan, the lightning god. And Ellie's was like Queen Ellie and a Princess Ellie. Like she just wants to be a queen and a princess. And dude, they had these the wax hands. They're fucking expensive. It's like $20 to dip your fucking hand in wax.
Sounds about right.
Fucking crazy. But
Davis, I have some follow-up questions, but Davis had wax hands and one of his shithead friends came over and fucking broke him. He was all upset.
yeah,
You get to pick the color.
of the hands,
Sorry, of the crayons.
the crayons. Yeah.
Do you just get to like mix colors to make a color?
No, dude, it's fucking dumb.
Huh?
Dude, there's like 6 colors.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Why did you go with orange, or what is that? Orange?
Well, this one is orange because this is actually atomic tangerine.
Oh, okay.
Atomic tangerine, and no, I think there was no line there. I was trying to make it like say some really fucking wild stuff, but it told me no
It makes sense.
because you go up to a kiosk and I mean I would have had a hard time explaining to the kiosk like why I would fucking put horse wrangler on there. They probably wouldn't. They'd be like, "Oh, it just guy's a fucking cowboy." Not that kind of cowboy.
Did you put Riz and it didn't work?
No, I tried to put I was trying to make like a really, really dirty one for my wife. And like, I put like fists and fingers and bangers and nothing fucking worked. It was terrible.
I mean, it makes sense.
It does make sense because it's for children. Like,
And you're a big child.
I'm a big fucking child.
A big inappropriate child.
Can you imagine they had an input history and some kid's like, oh, juicy cooter, boom. His parents are like, Dad, what the fuck? His mom's awesome. Fucking crying. His kid's scarred for life. I'm sitting in the corner fucking laughing. But yeah, man, that was my fatherhood unscripted.
That's cool. So it was just you and the 2 younger kids that went?
Yep. It was a lot of fun. They got 2 overpriced crayon stuffies. It's fucking ridiculous. Dude, they had this
stuffy is overpriced.
Oh my god, dude, they had this thing where you had to where you can get it's like a little figurine that you could color. Okay. Now, if you weren't an annual pass member, you got a fucking T-Rex. If you were an annual pass member, you got to have a pterodactyl. And my son's like, Dad, I want the pterodactyl. And the lady's like, just ignore him. I was like, it's okay, buddy. She fucking sees people like you all day long, crying, upset. You guys want the pterodactyl. She doesn't care. And she's like, I see this every day, all day. I'm like, yeah, you don't care. And like we walked away. I was like, give the kid a fucking pterodactyl. Who cares? Like I would be the best. Oh, your annual pass? Fuck you. You get the T-Rex. You're not special. What
did you go with?
The only thing you can get is a fucking T-Rex.
Oh, he got a T-Rex.
Yeah, they all got a T-Rex. I got a T-Rex. And then he left his T-Rex.
Do you get a color the T-Rex?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You got the color and everything. It was a very fun time.
Nice.
All right.
Want to get into it?
let's get into it.
All right.
How about, is there question? Is there a particular reason why you catch yourself slipping?
So I think you and I talked Tuesday or Wednesday, and I
Mhm.
had a therapy appointment on Thursday. So literally like 50 minutes of my hour was talking about why I do what I do.
Yeah,
So a couple things. I love the taste of beer.
yeah,
I always have. And especially like this time of year in the summer, there is nothing better than a cold beer on a hot day, in my
it's
opinion.
true. It's true.
So I think some of it is to handle my stress. And I think I've learned a lot of things over the years. And so I don't drink near as much as I used to, but I still like to cut loose.
Yeah.
And usually I'm really good at like, I like to get like that to the buzz point, and then it from a timing perspective, then I go to bed.
Yeah.
The problem I have is when it's this time of year and I'll start drinking it too. I don't get to the buzz point. I get to the you're a fucking idiot point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened a couple times in the last month, and I don't like it.
Yeah. So it's like
So,
stress.
well, I don't even know if it's stress, man. It's just like I don't have this shut off. Like
Yeah.
I I tried to yesterday, and I think I did a really good job. I did not get drunk last night.
Yeah.
Deanne and I went out for an early dinner since we fast. We went out at like 2,
Yeah.
and I had two 32-ounce beers. And so when I got home, I only had one beer in the house,
Yeah.
and I had some tequila. So, I was taking a shot and I do half shots usually,
A half shot.
which is how it's like the stuff that I've realized. Like if I take a whole shot, I'm fucking housed by 5.
Yeah.
But if I take half shots, then it just kind of keeps me mellow and consistent through
Okay.
the whole night. And that's kind of what I did. And then I had the beer at the end of the night at like
Right
9,
on.
which that's me talking to my therapist kind of helped that. If
Yeah.
it would have been last week, I would have stopped at the liquor store and got a 12 pack and shot beer. And next thing you
That's
know,
fucking
I'm
wild.
just out of control.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And I don't
So what?
think it's always a bad thing. I think in certain situations it's a bad thing. I, I obviously I think if it's every night, it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you just need to forget about whatever's on your mind, and that's a good way to do it. At
It
least for
helps.
me.
Well, it helps. So what did your therapist say? Like, what's the professional consensus here?
So he said a couple things. So I guess let's rewind to a week ago. I went to the Post Malone Jelly Roll concert.
Mm-hmm.
My son, well, so here's something else. Like I have certain triggers that I just like drinking beer, and
Yeah.
one of them is grilling. So Jackson was grilling dinner for us, but I kind of went out there to just make sure he was good and support him. And I wasn't sure
You
if I
needed
wanted to
your beer
drink yet
reason.
because it was, sorry, what's that?
So you needed your beer reason. You saw him grilling. You're like, I need a beer, so I need to be out there.
No, because I was like, I know I'm going to the concert. I know I'm going to drink at the concert, so I don't want to start drinking. And I'm not blaming this on anybody, but Deanne offered me a beer, and I was just like, hey, why not? So at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I started drinking.
Yeah.
And I was trying to be cognizant of the fact that it was going to be a late night.
Yeah.
So at the house, I had a couple beers and a couple shots. And then we left. We light railed it to the stadium. We got to the stadium. We both got a couple drinks. And then one thing led to another, and I had 16 beers.
For a fucking hefty price.
Yeah, definitely. It was $57 beer night at the
Fuck
stadium.
that.
I'm exaggerating. They're $23 a piece though after tip. And
It's
I
a
feel
lot.
like such an asshole because I really don't want to tip when you charge $20 for a fucking $3 beer.
What are you fucking tipping him for?
I mean, they don't get paid shit, dude, if you don't tip them. And it's not their fault that the beers are so expensive.
I mean, I guess that's
It's
fair.
not. It's not their fault.
No, no, I hear you. How much did
So
you fucking tip him?
$3 every
A
time.
beer?
$3 a beer, yeah.
God damn, dude. All
So
right, I'll shut up.
anyways, I think that am I think I can have a conversation and I can interact with people. And I even told my therapist this, like I don't never drive drunk, but like the way that I measure like if I feel like I can drive, then I'm still okay.
Yeah,
It's but it just sometimes I just hit this spot where I can't put a sentence together. I can't walk straight. And that happened to me on Sunday night and it sucks.
yeah, yep, yeah. That's the, and I think Jesus, I should fucking muted myself. I think that's usually when the the clarity point kind of comes in the next day is like, damn, like everything's all good, and then next thing you know, you're taking a step over a fucking curb, or you're just walking through the grass, and the world starts fucking moving on you, and you start tripping over yourself and start saying things that it's it's not necessarily that you wouldn't say, but you would think fucking twice before you're being so free with your fucking words. Um, yeah, it's so like for you, okay, so you're to your point, you have a trigger, you have a couple of triggers that set in. One of them was grilling. What was the? Did you have another one? Was there like an
Football,
emotional trigger or anything?
but watching the Broncos.
Were they losing?
I mean, it's not Bronco season.
Did you just say you were watching the Broncos?
No, that's a trigger for me is watching the Broncos.
Oh, okay. Are there any
I
like stress moments? Anything that like you're like for me, I think mine came from like frustration.
I I mean, I think naturally, yes. Like that is how I used to drink. I drank to forget about whatever was going on in my life, whether it was work or personal or both. And that's when I was drinking 6 to 7 times a week.
Yeah.
And it was, it wasn't to because I enjoyed the taste of beer. It was to get drunk.
Yeah, that's fair.
When I think I've like kind of borderline felt that I was an alcoholic. And I've had this conversation with real alcoholics, and it's definitely not the same thing that they go through, but I think it's some of the similar things.
Gotcha. I always think about this. I don't remember if this was in Half Baked or not, but where Bob Saget says, "You ever suck dick? That's an addiction. You ever suck dick for marijuana? No, no, Bob, I never have." So I feel like when I think about addiction, I always feel like it's got to be like to that limit. Like maybe not to the point where you're like fucking blowing people for it, but I think to the point of what I really like. I need to have this to get my day moving.
Well, I'll give you a good example, and it's funny that you said that because I've kind of thought similar, like from Half Baked as well.
Yeah,
But the difference between me and like somebody who's actively battling addiction is last night when I only had one beer here, I would have put myself in a vehicle and I would have went and drove and got more. Instead,
Yeah.
I just kind of thought a little bit differently. Well, clearly this shit happened last Sunday. I've talked to you about it. I've talked to my therapist
Yeah.
about it. So I didn't, I wasn't trying to get shit faced. And I never want to get to that point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to get to the point where I'm buzzed. That's my favorite because I don't feel like shit the next morning. I have a good time. And like, I'm not an angry drunk. I think I'm actually kind of fun to be around when I'm
Yeah.
drinking to a certain extent. But I can tell you that last Sunday I was not fun to be around because when somebody can't walk a straight line and can't put a sentence together, nobody wants to deal with that, especially somebody who isn't drunk.
Well, yeah, yeah, because they see it, and they if they're seeing you be kind of out of control in your own body, it's like kind of like a disheartening kind of feeling in them of like, hey, dude, like you should probably stop fucking drinking. And at that point, we've drank enough that it's like you should probably shut the fuck up.
Right.
You
Right.
tried that? No, keep drinking, and we don't mean it. I don't tell people to shut the fuck up though. Very.
Well, and you and I talked about this, but this happened like 25 years ago, but it was a bachelor party. I was with a bunch of buddies. We were drinking at a house. We decided we would go to a bar. We go to a bar, and I wasn't the catalyst to this fight, but this huge fight broke out with all of my friends, and it was like, you know, from a bystander,
Yeah.
it wasn't our fault. We definitely did not handle it right, but it wasn't our fault. It was this weird situation with these older dudes. And I'm saying older, they were probably in their 40s. We were in our 20s.
Yeah.
So we decided, since this shit happened, we better go back to the house and just stay there the rest of the night. But me and my friend said, nah, that's not enough. Let's go to a bar. So that
Yeah.
night, I went to a bar, and it was a cowboy bar. And I am not a big fan of cowboys. I grew up with real cowboys, and I love real cowboys, but most cowboys to me are fucking fake. They wear Wranglers and they wear jeans and a hat, and they think they're fucking cowboys, and they grew up
Yeah.
in the city.
They're more like
And I'm not
cowboy
saying
fans.
that there's not real cowboys that grew up in the city, but I grew up in the country with real cowboys, and it's just different. So
Yeah.
I'm walking through this bar, and I'm intentionally shoulder checking every single dude because I'm trying to get into a fight because I'm so fucked up, and I think I'm
Yeah.
invincible.
Well, you
And
just
I got
came from a
arrested that
brawl,
night.
so you're like, fuck it.
Yeah. And I got
Feeling
arrested
good.
that night, not in that bar, but I did some pretty fucked up shit that I never remembered.
Yeah.
I jumped out of a
Damn.
moving vehicle because a guy was swerving at us.
No
Found
shit.
out later it was a 60-year-old man with his grandson delivering newspapers. I jumped in the back of his truck and I tried to assault him.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it was, well, so then we end up back at the house again. I've got blood all over myself because I jumped out of a moving vehicle.
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
Hey,
stay
don't
downstairs.
pee
We're not letting
everywhere.
the cops in. The cops are here. Well, I'm so fucked up that I think that I didn't do anything wrong. So I come
Yeah.
out into the garage and the dude's like, that's the guy. And I got thrown in cuffs and thrown in the back of a car.
Damn, dude.
And I remember I was being belligerent. I was like, your cuffs cut my wrists. Well, that's not what happened. My fucking wrists were all fucked up from jumping out of a moving vehicle.
Jesus.
So
No
that
shit,
night
dude.
was a big learning experience for me. And I try not to get to that point, but I definitely was to that point on Sunday. It just nothing happened.
Yeah. Damn, dude, that's a wild one.
Yeah, it was not one of my better moments.
Yeah.
It was a felony charge. They ended up dropping it to a misdemeanor. So
Damn.
I apologized to the guy in court, and
Yeah.
I felt like I was pretty sincere and pretty genuine because obviously I was sober, but man, this shit kind of fucked me up a little bit
Yeah. Yeah. It's
because
pretty fucked up.
my grandpa was still alive, and like going through that thought process is like fucking assaulting a 60-year-old man. And like, I was so drunk, I probably couldn't even fucking throw a punch.
Jeez, dude.
Right.
You put
Yeah.
on the
Not one of
Xbox.
my better moments.
Yep. You just got to put them on your head though, because they're on the ground now. Silly. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, I don't. I think. I don't think I ever. I think the my worst night, and like it really wasn't that bad. Like I've always been pretty good with like I know I like to fight, and like if you see me in like a sober state, you're like, no, you fucking like I'll walk the other way. There's never a point for me to be like, oh, we should just fight, because you never know what's gonna happen. You could hit somebody the wrong way and now they die. And now your whole entire life is over. The people that you love and you care about, it's gonna affect them. Um yeah, I mean I was younger and we used to go on the canal and we would drink Bankers Club vodka. We'd always walk around like two handles. Dude, and we were walking down this canal, and I think we were like 16, 17 at this point, maybe like 18. I don't know, probably like 17. And we're like, it was us and a couple of girls, and she gets wild. And it's dark. There's other people walking down the canal, and like me and my buddy are just, it's like a sandwich walking with things moving and mechanicals. If you fucking picture that one. And we get up to the Wagon. I'm drunk, dude. And my buddy, he gives me a call. He's like, "Hey, there's a party up there. Like, you wanna head up there?" And mind you, like a lot of my friends already like started going up to this party, but I'm so drunk that I'm like fucking falling behind. And I'm hanging out at this, not at the park, but meet up with a couple more friends. This one used to smoke a lot of weed, and dude, this kid I just didn't fucking like was there, and my buddy was like, "Dude, if you fucking go knock him out, I'll give you a ride up to the party." I was like, "All right, fucking watch it." And we're standing there, and I'm talking to him, and then I start talking shit, and he just felt it coming, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "All right, here it comes." And then before I could even think of it, he's fucking down on the ground, and I'm just like, "All right, man, where's my ride?" He's like, "Fuck you, dude. I'm not giving you a ride." I was like, "You're a dick." So I end up walking up to this party, and I'm like, dude, I'm stumbling. I don't even know where the hell I'm going. I know somewhat the direction, but I know exactly where I'm going. So I'll call my other buddy, and he meets up with me. He was a big dude, and he's like, Misha, you can't come up here. There's like parents and stuff. Like, this is just not like, no, please don't do this. And I was drinking, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna fucking hurt you if you don't help me up and walk me to this party. Well, he ended up walking me up there, and there was this bigger dude, Farron, that was his name. He was like the fucking, he was standing at the gate. He was like, "No, Demetri, you can't pass." I was like, "Fuck you, dude. I'm gonna get past you." Well, I walked past them, and then I got so fucking drunk, dude. Like I pulled down my pants. I fucking pissed in their fucking bushes. I was like, everyone's just walking around. And then all I remember is people shoving bread in my mouth. I'm like so drunk. And then my buddy's dad had to come and fucking pick me up and carry me out like a fucking baby. I woke up the next morning on the floor, and my buddy's on the couch. I'm like, dude, what the fuck happened? He's like, well, my dad had to carry you out like a fucking baby. Like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, dude, you pissed all over this chick's fucking bushes. Her family was right there. Her grandparents were there. Like her mom, like it was just, dude, you were so fucked. Like people were shoving bread in your mouth. It was like, yeah, I remember that. They didn't put any sauce on it too. It was like fucked up. Um, but at that time, like that kind of moment was more so just being a dumb kid. Like just not really giving a shit about consequences or thinking there really are any. And as I got older, like I mean, like this past time, it was more so stressed in a sense of sometimes I want to say shit, but I know if I say shit, like it just doesn't get taken the right way or it doesn't get heard properly. Like this is just how I feel. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna drink this fucking beer because it's gonna shut me up, and then I'll just fucking deal with it. Well, you know, after a couple of days of that, it kind of turns into this is fucking irritating. Like I shouldn't have to feel like I need to close my mouth. I should be able to like speak freely, but in the reality, you have to kind of gauge. You got to pick your battles, right? But for me, it was always like a stop talking or stop your brain from talking
Right.
and having a conversation about shit that's going on in your life, so you can kind of process it or take a step back, take a breath, and come at it from a different angle another day. That was my, that was my thing. And to your point, fucking, we were smoking, like grilling meat, and you can't just have a beer. I can't.
No, I'm the same way. Like I I did a good job last night, but I I typically am like just I can't just do one. I just can't.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
Well, and I think that and this is what I was talking to my therapist about is why am I in my 40s drinking like I was in my 20s? And why do I have these situations when this happens? Because that's what I really was trying to figure out. In your 20s, that's normal, I think. I wouldn't say like maybe everybody takes it to that point to where you're assaulting a 60-year-old man,
Yeah,
but it's normal to party like that. I in my 20s, it was at least once a month I would drink to that state. In my 30s,
yeah,
I would say it was a little bit less. And now that I've hit my 40s, it's substantially less. These don't happen very often, but now I've had two separate situations where in the last month where I've drank like that. And I don't know why. And one of them was at home. It started at a bar or at dinner, and we started drinking at like 2. And Deanne's not a big drinker. She'll just drink 2 and then she's good the rest of the night.
yeah.
But then I'll have 2 and then I'll have a shot and then it just escalates from there.
Can't stop. It's like when you what the fuck is this?
I'm not sure why that just happened.
Are you talking to Siri, dude?
I didn't even touch my phone and it just started listening. So
Holy shit.
thank you, Big Brother.
Yeah, Big Brother's watching Big Apple.
Trying to
I feel like
help my drinking.
it's almost like kind of like you're where they breaking the seal when you go take your first piss of a long night of drinking, and then next thing you know, you just can't stop. I feel like for me, it's like the drink. Well, once if I have a case of beer, I'm probably gonna drink the fucking case of beer. If I have a bottle of vodka, I'm probably gonna drink the whole fucking bottle of vodka. And it's not because I'm like, oh my god, I gotta drink it, but it's more so like I'm not a quitter, and I want to finish the race. And sometimes it's like the race against yourself. And when I was younger, it used to be like not a coping thing, but like it used to give me time to think about like being adopted and like my dad being a fucking alcoholic, and my mom being a fucking drug addict, and all this other kind of shit. And as I got older, realized I don't drink because of that shit anymore. Now I just drink just to like deal with the kind of the silent load of being a fucking dad and all the things that it takes, like being a dad, being a husband, and trying to wrap everything up in a pretty package. Well, sometimes the fucking Christmas presents come looking all fucked up because we don't know how to wrap shit properly. And I think like some weeks it just kind of really gets to you. And I feel like as a man or as a father or husband, it's hard to find somebody you could talk to your spouse a certain amount, I think, without them taking it as an offensive or like a getting on the defensive. You know, sometimes we have shit that we want to talk about, and I think it always kind of comes across and gets taken a little bit differently than from the other side. My wife can come to me and complain about this, and that, and I just kind of have to sit there and like, yeah, you know, like I try not to be fucking defensive, but I feel like, and maybe people can back me up here, but depending on what we say and what we want to discuss, it kind of doesn't get taken that way. It kind of gets put on somebody's like a chip on the shoulder. Well, we just want to talk about shit too.
Yeah, I I don't know, man. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm just like, let's let this pass. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
and handle. I don't know. I don't
Other
know.
times it just fucking eats at you.
Yeah,
Eats at me.
you're right. You're right.
And like I think that's like a real that's a real thing, man. Like we can you know, depending on who you have a conversation with is gonna be how that conversation is gonna be portrayed in a lot of instances, depending on how somebody's day is going and vice versa. Like you're gonna, even if you go into it with the best of intentions, you know, you talked prior about like delivery, and well, you got to think about how you deliver things. I think even sometimes when you try to deliver things in the right way, it's still doesn't come. I think the message doesn't come across that, you know, we want, or just a fucking viewpoint.
Well, it depends on the other person's mental state too. Like if they're not in the mental state to even have the conversation, and you, even if you deliver it right,
Yeah,
it may not come across that way, and it may feel like an attack or
then it spirals,
yep.
and I think that's why I get times where I get in and I just really have to like I just it's not that I don't care anymore, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking say my piece, and like it is what it is. But I do feel like usually it fucking spirals. It's like it's hard to say your piece, man. It's hard to say your piece to the people that you love. Um, it's I think it's a difficult thing to do, and it's a fine balance. And as a depending on how much stuff you got going on, sometimes that load gets a little too heavy, and a beer or fucking some whiskey, whatever it might be, is kind of what lightens it up a little bit. It's still there. I think you just kind of have a new thing to deal with, which for me, it's like, okay, well, I drank way too fucking much. Well, was it all the other shit on my head anymore? No, it was that I was being dumb. So now this is my new problem to deal with. And I could
Right.
remedy that problem so much easier than having to go back and reignite the flames of fucking hell. You know, it's just like, all right, well, I'll just stop drinking and then we're good.
Well, and one thing I want to say is the night that I got arrested, I was drinking vodka, and to this day, I rarely, if ever, drink vodka because I felt like it brought out a side of me that that I never want to see again for sure.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think a lot of people have that same trigger with tequila, and I don't, and that's all I drink is tequila.
Dude, my wife does. So happy she doesn't.
Tequila.
I'm so happy she doesn't fucking drink tequila anymore.
It's pretty common, and I don't know if vodka is common, but I specifically remember.
In Russia, it's common.
I'm saying I don't know if vodka is typically a trigger, but in Russia it is because it's all they drink.
That's offensive.
Oh, sorry, I was stereotyping.
Stereotypes. They're there for a reason, guys. I'm just saying.
So I ended up at a house party with my ex girlfriend's sister and a bunch of her friends, and her mom was there. And they were drinking screwdrivers, which I thought was weird for. They were just out of high school, but I thought it was weird for like young people to be drinking screwdrivers because in my head that's just an old person drink. But
The fuck is a screwdriver?
orange juice and vodka. Anyways, they were mixing their drinks, and I was like, "That's not how you do it." And I pulled the filter out of the vodka, and I poured orange juice in it, and I shook it up, and I chugged it. And at that point, I was toast. And that's when I just stopped remembering anything. And I still, to this day, don't remember jumping out of a moving vehicle, jumping into a moving vehicle.
Jesus.
I don't remember any of that.
You're fucking do some Grand Theft Auto stuff, but
It was, yeah, like I said, it was not one of my better moments. But, I had to learn from it and deal with the consequences. I served 2 weeks in jail for it.
Jesus.
Yeah, it made me better. Obviously, we're still talking about drinking,
Yeah.
so I didn't stop drinking,
Yeah,
but
but you got a hold of it.
well, I just cut vodka out and learned a lot from it. And yeah, I don't know. I I don't know. Sunday was tough, man. It was Monday. Actually, Monday was tough. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Sunday was great.
Yeah, the next day.
Monday was tough. Like mentally, it was tough.
Yep. Yeah, then you gotta sober up to the realization of what like happened, and if you don't remember shit, it's like, hey, like, you're the next day is getting yourself back on course,
Right.
and it's like the first step. You become super self aware of like what happened, and then a bit of guilt or shame steps in, and that's I think that's a hard one. Like my wife got the kids to sleep that night, and I came inside and I threw up, and then I couldn't get my fucking chain and my cross off, and my wife's obviously awake because she's fucking mad at me, and I'm like, get these fucking things off of me. I was too drunk to get them off. I was like blacking out, like mid trying to get my shit off. I'm like feeling like I'm being choked out, and just like waking up, just feeling it. You just feel it. It's like they fucking glare at you. They look at you, and you're like, yep, I know. I apologize.
Have you drank since Tuesday?
No, I actually dumped out my last fucking couple of beers. I had like 2 beers left, and I just dumped them out.
How long are you going to go without drinking?
I don't know. I don't see, like that's the thing. It's like for me, it's when I have a certain degree of stress going on, and we were dude, I was cooking on a smoker for like 4 days straight. Like I'd get off work and I'd start fucking smoking. And it's just like all the other stress of like shit going on, but like doing that and then having beer beside it, I'm like, dude, there's nothing that can go wrong. Correction, fucking everything can go wrong when you got stuff weighing down on your fucking chest and your shoulders, and your brain's full of like fog, and you're grabbing the drinks left and right without even realizing it. Like I drank I think I drank 22 beers that night, and I went from it was from 6:30 to 9:30. Like drink a beer, done. Can I have another one? And that's like I had a point. I had 3 beers. I had a beer in my hand and 2 beers in my fucking pockets because I didn't feel like going back inside.
Right. Yep. I've been there. I got a funny story about
And
that.
it's like, why? I'm ready for it.
So when Deanna and I first started dating, we went out for dinner,
Yeah.
had dinner, had a couple drinks. One thing led to another. I'm drinking. She's like, hey, I really want to go for a walk. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, well, I'm taking a beer. And I did the same thing. 2 beers in my pocket because we're getting ready to make like a 1.5 mile loop around the neighborhood. I'm drunk to the point where I'm being stupid. I finish my first beer. I open a mailbox, throw it in the mailbox, right? Federal offense. So they say.
What?
Yeah, you can't touch mailboxes that aren't yours.
Oh, you put it in someone else's mailbox.
Yeah, not my mailbox, somebody else's. So finish the next one, throw it in a mailbox, keep going. Fast forward a year later, and I decide that I'm going to get into sober living with my business partner. Guess what one of the houses is that I put a beer can in?
A sober living house.
It is now a sober living house.
No shit. That was one of the houses you guys bought.
They didn't have a camera because like I wasn't like so drunk that I wasn't paying attention to see if there was a camera just to make sure. I didn't want to be on video throwing it in somebody's mailbox, and that one specifically didn't.
I think that's divine intervention.
It is. I told the homeowner this story, and he laughed. He wasn't living there, but I told him the story.
I think that like in a sense of life, God or whatever you believe in kind of puts things in your path, and you don't realize them until later on. It just depends on what you take with the guidance. It's like they'll put stuff in your way, and sometimes you take the bait, and next thing you know, you buy the house, and it's a sober living house. It would have been funny if you kept that fucking bottle of beer.
Right.
Imagine that. Well, about what can you do you have like a takeaway or like do you think that, so I don't believe in like bullshit suggestions of like when somebody says, oh well, I feel like I need to have a beer right now, and you say, oh man, you know what, Charlie, I think you should just go for a fucking walk. I think you should go sit down and meditate in a fucking corner. And I think the reality of it is like, dude, if somebody wants to have a beer, they're going to have a beer. I think going for a walk or anything like that, it might help clear your mind for a second, just like the beer might. But at the end of the day, it all depends. Like I'm sure for somebody that's like a runner, they're not going to go and have a beer when they're stressed about it. They're just going to go for a run. That's their scapegoat. So like what actual advice do you think you can give to somebody that, like, let's say was in your position this Sunday, and like what can you relay to help?
Well, here's one of the things me and my therapist talked about. He said drinking with intention. Like, what is your intention when you're drinking? Is your intention to get sloppy drunk? And it's never my intention.
Yeah.
So having a little bit more self-awareness, which I have a ton of self-awareness, like sober. But I feel like once I start drinking, it's gone. But he also brought up a very good point, and it happened yesterday, because yesterday I drank with a little bit more intention. I knew we went to dinner at 2. I knew that if I drank from 2 until 10, the way that I drink, it would have been bad
Yeah.
because I would have been reliving this again. And I didn't. So yesterday I drank with a little bit more intention.
So drink with attention,
Yeah, just,
being cognizant of it.
yeah, absolutely. Don't, I didn't come home and fucking chug a beer Deanne left at like 6 to go get Raina. And I could have easily said, hey, go grab more beer. But
Yeah.
if the beer was here, then I would have drank it.
Yeah.
So I just intentionally didn't do that. And today I'm going to probably drink. I have a little bit of tequila left. I'm going to get 2 tall boys and I'll drink
Yeah.
that. And it'll get me to that like perfect state. And then I'm done. And I'm going to try to go and not drink for a while. I have 2 concerts next week, so it could be a little challenging, but I'm going with somebody who's sober, so I'm going to
Yeah.
do my best to not drink, or maybe I'll just have a beer or 2. So drinking with intention instead of drinking with no intention, and then there's no control.
Yeah. Well, yeah, having the clarity to be like, no, I'm good, or like knowing when it's enough. And I think when you're in it, dealing with your shit, when you've had enough. And I think you just don't care.
Right.
Like it's a hard it's like a hard one to deal with, man, because like Ronan, stop. I don't even know what you're doing. Um I think your advice is, and I've heard that before too. Drink with intention, or like whatever you do, have a reason behind it. Like if you're gonna drink to get belligerent drunk, you're gonna get belligerent drunk. But sometimes you're not drinking to get belligerent drunk, and you're fucking belligerent drunk. Like it just happens.
If I'm ever driving, it's never an issue.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
Because I've never, I have a CDL, but there's a lot of other stories that I could share about people in my life that have struggled with DUIs or whatever. It's been enough of a learning lesson for me to not put myself in those situations. I can't say I've never done it, but it's less than 5 times probably that I can count on my hand in, 20 plus years that I've put myself in a situation, and I probably haven't done it in 15 years.
Yeah.
But if I'm driving, it's like 1 beer. If my kids are with me, it's 0 beers, because what I never want to do is I never want to get T-boned in an intersection, have not my fault, have alcohol in my breath, and have to have that conversation. And It's also the example I try to set with my kids.
Yeah, don't drink and drive.
Yep.
I will have it. Like if I go out to eat though, I'll have a beer. And if I have a beer, but to your point, I'm not sitting here fucking chugging them down. And that is like always a thought though. Like, okay, can I have another beer? Okay, can I physically have another beer? 100%. Should I, just in case something happens? No.
Well, I think I can have 8 to 10 beers and I can drive just fine. But the law says I can't, for 1, and for 2, like it's not worth it. And it's probably my ego telling me that I'm just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I drink quite a bit, so I can hold my liquor pretty good. But it's once I start mixing in hard alcohol is when shit gets scary.
Yeah, then it does gets kind of sorry, I got it. My son literally brought me my controller so I can.
What are you doing?
I gotta set up Mortal Kombat for him. Dude, he probably does like Mortal Kombat, but you're gonna why don't pick a different game for right now? Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'll say I think for me, the only advice I can give somebody is that if you're gonna have that beer, just have that beer. Drink with intention. If your intention is to kind of mellow yourself out so you can reattack whatever you're dealing with from a different angle, then that's fine. Don't make it a habit. Be aware. Like everything that you said is like just 100%. Like have the intention and have a ending point, because when we don't have an ending point, I think that's when stuff gets really twisted, and that's when we kind of delve into the realm of I'm gonna up and down if you fucking shoulder check me because I'm excited to knock you the fuck out, or you're gonna start saying stuff you really don't or shouldn't be saying. I don't think that there's ever a thing in life that people say shit when they're drunk, they don't mean it. Like I stand by that 100%. Anything that comes out of your mouth, you 100% meant to say it. There's no fucking accident. Like there's nobody putting a hand up your butt and moving your mouth and being like, oh, I didn't really say that. No, you did. You knew why you said it. You just now realize that it wasn't okay to say. So I think if
Well,
you're
you
getting
probably
to
knew
that
it wasn't
realm,
okay to say. That's why you didn't say it when you weren't drunk.
yeah.
But it was
And you
still
said
on
it
your
because
mind.
you wanted to, like you felt like why not? I feel confident enough to say whatever I want now. He's fighting people.
Is he drunk?
He's not drunk. He might be. I don't know. He's a wild kid.
All right. Well, we're at 57 minutes. So let's wrap this up.
All right.
I have a topic I want to talk about real quick before I ask the question.
Okay.
Why do you think our episode this last week flopped on YouTube? Did you see it? I don't even think we broke 60 views. I just thought it was interesting because I thought it was an okay one, but maybe it didn't draw people in. The Easter one didn't draw people in either, which I thought was kind of weird.
Dude, I don't know what the hell just happened.
Well, it's funny because it looked like you were looking something up, and then it took me like 45 seconds of no movement that I'm like, oh shit, he's frozen.
My computer like legit just like fucking blue screened on me. That was the first time it's ever done that. I don't know why it flopped. I think maybe it was a topic choice. Maybe it's the thumbnail. Like apparently, like the thumbnail is a big thing. So I wonder if maybe we'll use some AI to make our thumbnail today, and we'll make it like a cartoon version of us. I don't know. Switch it up.
Simpsons version.
Yeah, switch it up. We'll see what happens. But
Okay.
yeah, I think that's why. I think if we can't get somebody to jump into the conversation instantly, we're gonna have a hard time keeping them. I think that I think today's topic is a pretty good one though. I think that a lot of people it's going to resonate with a certain amount of individuals. Hopefully,
Well, our shorts did okay,
yeah.
and we got some comments on them. They were not great comments, but they were
Okay. Any
comments.
comments? Good comment.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
All right, you ready for the question?
I'm ready.
Would you rather lose all of your old memories or not be able to make new ones?
Ooh, I think that I would rather. Man, that's a fucking tough one. Like, I can't imagine not remembering like my kids being born, but at the same time, no. Damn, dude, that's a hard one.
It is a hard one.
Um, you know what? I think I would want to be able to make new memories. As hard as it would be to let go of the past.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. I wouldn't want to let go of old ones because that's what's helped make me who I am.
Yeah.
But at the same time, knowing that I couldn't make new ones would be kind of a struggle,
Mm-hmm.
especially because, you know, I I've said this a couple times, but with the exception of last Sunday, I'm currently living my best life, I think, or my best
Yeah.
version of me. So yeah, I'm with you. I think getting rid of the old ones.
Yeah. I mean, like, can you imagine like not like your kids get married and it's like, hey, Dad, you remember that? I don't even know. Like, I don't even know who you are because my last memory of you was when you were like 13 or 10 or 12 or 5, and you look like a completely different person. It's like you're living life with Alzheimer's, and realistically, I think that's like with Alzheimer's, it's like long like memories from the past that are really, really like embedded in your brain stay. But short term, I think it's like, and it's like yearly, it's like the past couple of years, short term, I think kind of go away. And they kind of have like a similar thing, I think. Because they usually remember their wives or their husbands and their kids, depending how old they are. But I think if they're young, you kind of lose everything.
Yeah, man, that would be so tough. So tough. I couldn't imagine. Well, like not just for me, like I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's probably less tough for the person that has it. It's the people around them that it's harder on maybe not physically, but
Well, dude,
mentally if
physically,
you're what's that?
my physically, my father-in-law had Alzheimer's. Okay, so I'd get off work and I'd come home and because he lived with us, and he towards the end he started to get more agitated, more like more physical, and that's the point we kind of. So there's like a particular moment, but anyway, I come home and like I go up and I have a conversation with him. I'd feed him soup with a spoon and stuff. Like I was just there for him and just sit there and. But like one day he got like really like he just wanted his wife, which was like so fucked, dude. And I'm like at the point where like, you're just gonna push my wife out of the way. And my wife was like, I feel like he just doesn't remember enough that it's just turned into like something bad. Well, like I told him, I was like, no, like Barry, you got to go to your room, and I like walked into his room, and there was he just like looked at me like who the fuck are you? And then like just like swung at me, and like there's two points there. One, when somebody swings at you, you have a really quick fucking decision to make. You're either gonna hurt him back or you're not. Well, I didn't.
You didn't.
I bear hugged my father-in-law and I threw him on the bed and I told him that he needs to calm the fuck down. And I walked out of that room after I made sure that he was calmed down. And it's like I went to my wife and was like, just so you know, you need to call your mom. Like your dad just fucking swung at me. And I bear hugged him. I threw him on his bed. Like that was there's and he was not, dude, he was not this person. He was super, super calm, nice. And then this shit kind of just like took over. Like Alzheimer's is rough. And
It,
my wife seeing it progress because he lived with us was a really, really difficult time, especially she was being a mother at the time.
I
Well,
bet.
she's still a mother, but like it was difficult. And I talked to him a couple of times about it. I was like, hey, dude, I was like, what do you think about like life and what's going on? He's like, you know what? He was like, just look at the trees, the wind blowing. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, man. Look at the trees, dude. The wind blows. It rustles the feathers. And eventually we just go. And he said to me, he's like, I don't want to die. And like me being the person I am, I'm like, well, you're gonna die. Like we're all gonna die, man. And it's I think it's scary to see somebody lose who they were and the life that they lived. Because you could see the fear in their eyes and its confusion, and no matter what you do, you can't fix it.
Right. Right.
So Alzheimer's is the fucking rough thing, man, and it progresses fast for some people.
Right. Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough for me to watch somebody go through that that's close to me.
Well, but I mean, that's the question. It's like, what do? You forget your old memories, or do you forget your new ones? Well, for a new one, it's like it really is just living with Alzheimer's at that point. You're just not having the mental degradation of it. You have this is just, you just said, nope, don't want to remember them. You had a choice that we made actively, right? They don't have a choice. They don't get to pick and choose what they remember, what they don't. I think that's the scariest thing about it.
For sure.
So I hope anybody with Alzheimer's, their family members, I hope you guys get through it. I know that shit's rough. But,
oh, I thought you were closing us out.
Well, I'll close this out. I hope you guys kind of let us know if you ever found yourself kind of slipping and realizing that you are slipping. How do you get yourself back on track using, was it drinking? Was it other stuff? You're a chronic masturbator? I don't know. Like, whatever it is, sometimes people slip in different ways. How do you pick yourself back up from that? Guys, comment, like, subscribe. Hopefully share it to your family or friends, other father figures that you might have in your life, or even your own fathers. Anything you want to add to that, Patrick?
No, you crushed it. Usually I got to come in and tell people to subscribe, but you took care of that too.
You fucking said close us out. Go ahead, bring it in.
Bring what in? Oh, should we compass on?
Yeah.
I'm going to just start saying that.
Well, this is just fucking weird. Now we got music playing, and you seem very quiet.
Really?
Yeah. Well, compass on, everybody.
Yeah, let's
stay guided. We're here for you. And we'll see you guys next week with something.
We're going to have a topic by Wednesday.
By Wednesday, we'll have a discussion, and we won't let you guys know. So you guys have a great week.